Broadway beat. Broadway. Broadway beat. Broadway beat. Broadway beat. Broadway. Listen to the Broadway beat. Broadway makes you wanna move your feet. Everybody's tapping into everything that's happening on Broadway beats. Broadway beats. Broadway beats. Broadway beat.
Hello, I'm Richard Ridge, and welcome to Broadway Beat, where we bring you the very best of what the New York theater scene has to offer. This week we devote our entire program to the new Broadway musical 9 to 5, which has just opened at the Marquis Theatre. It's based on the smash 1980 film comedy. 7-time Grammy Award winner Dolly Parton makes her Broadway debut as composer-lyricist. The musical features a book by Patricia Resnick based on her original story and screenplay. 9 to 5 stars Allison Janney, Stephanie J. Block, Megan Hilty, and Marc Kudisch. It features choreography by Andy Blankenbuehler and is directed by Joe Mantello. Now, we've been following the show's journey from rehearsal to opening night. Enjoy our look at 9 to 5. When pushed to their boiling point by their boss, Franklin Hart, Jr., played by Marc Kudisch, Violet Newstead, played by Allison Janney, the super-efficient office manager, Judy Burnley, played by Stephanie J. Block, a frazzled divorcee, and the sexy executive secretary, Doralee Rhodes, played by Megan Hilty, turn the tables on him. The trio hatches a plan to get even with the sexist, egotistical, lying, hypocritical bigot, and that plan quickly spins wildly and hilariously out of control.
I'm just so proud to be here. But I truly am honored to be part of this. And when they asked me if I would write the music, I said I would try. That's what I said. I said, I don't know that much about Broadway. This is a little bit out of my league, but I would love to try. So I went home and I prayed about it, and I thought, well, what can be that hard? It's a song. And I got into it, and I really acted out all the parts. I was glad I was by myself a lot. I got to be Mr. Hart. I had to get on my stairs and that going on. So I had a lot of fun doing it. Personally, for me, the most fun I've ever had as a songwriter, getting to be all of these people and getting to kind of, play all the parts. But I don't know how good it is. I just hope that it's good. I had a great time doing it, and they all say it's good. And like I say, we won't know till the next morning after we open.
Well, we started about 4 years ago. Started with Bob Greenblatt, the producer, and myself. The first thing we tried to do was I took my screenplay and just tried to put it into some kind of a book form and find the places that I thought the song should go. And then Bob went through that with me, and then we took that to Dolly, and then we took that to Joe Mantello, and we progressed. And there were definitely certain things I had to learn, like you can't cut in the theater. So if people are wearing one costume, you cannot immediately have them in another costume, even though in the movies they rip off their clothes backstage and run back on. So there was a little bit of a learning curve on things like that. Keep the sets down. But it translated very, very easily. It was primarily one set with just a few exceptions. Although now it's a big cast because of the ensemble, it's a reasonable number of people to move around and deal with. And now when I watch the movie, I wait for them to sing.
No, I never thought of it as being a musical. In fact, I was surprised when they, after all those years, well, I just never thought of it because musicals, Broadway is not really, a world that I've grown up in and grown up with. I haven't seen all that many Broadway musicals. And so I just thought, well, why? When they came to me about it, I was thinking, well, why now? After 20-some years, 25 years, I guess, at that time when they asked me to write it, and I thought, well, that's interesting. I'll see if how it goes and see if I can even do it. But now that you mentioned, after I got into it, then I saw it was perfect for that. Yeah.
Talk about your collaboration with Patricia Resnick.
Well, Pat Resnick and I, or Patricia, some call her, I call her Pat, she's a great writer, and of course she co-wrote the 9 to 5 movie with Colin Higgins, and he directed it, and of course Pat came up with the idea of the whole story, and then I had worked with Pat. She wrote another movie for me that Disney produced called Straight Talk, and of course she's written little skits for me in different shows. We didn't plan it. I don't know her outside of the places where we work. I mean, we've never spent personal time or anything together. It's just one of those things in life where these same people kind of keep coming in and out, so you think it must be blessed, and maybe I look at it now and think it was all leading up to this. Maybe. Just
talk about the process of writing these songs, of where you wrote them, and revisiting these people that you worked with so well in the movie, these characters.
Well, I tell you what, when I agreed to do the to do the musical, I thought, well, I'm so attached to this story. I know these characters so well because I had lived with them for 25 years at that time, and I'd seen that movie over and over. My little nieces and everybody watches it, and you just see it in every motel room you go into, 9 to 5's on the TV. So I just felt like I knew every single thing about every single character. So that's what made it so easy for me. And, of course, Dabney Coleman, who played Mr. Hart, well, I knew him personally, too. And in some ways, he's a lot like Mr. Hart. So I knew him, and we're buddies. We're friends. We used to go eat and do things together, like when we were doing the movie and even after. So I just knew all there was to know about these characters. So I just loved getting in there and writing all the stuff. And that's one of the reasons I think if it is good, that's why it's good, because I understood what I was doing.
You told that wonderful story about your nails. I listened to the album again last night, and I always wondered what that was. I thought it was one of the washboards. Remember those?
Yeah. Well, I know they actually used a real typewriter, too, but this sound in here, I did it on the thing. I don't know how much you can hear on the record, but I know that I had my own microphone set up, and then they put a credit on Nails, I think, by Dolly on the back of it. So it worked out okay. These little Nails and 9 to 5 have come all the way to Broadway.
I love the rehearsal process, and especially for this kind of for a Broadway musical. I've never done a musical, so I really need the rehearsal time. And it's just kind of extraordinary to me how many different elements are involved and how they all come together. And I'm just sort of sitting back and watching it all and not trying to get too crazy about not knowing anything. I'm just easing my way into it and having a great time. And fortunately, they've given us a lot of rehearsal time, so I think I'll definitely have the chance to feel really ready to go out there and sing my heart out.
It's a great way to come back. I mean, how were you approached for this, and what made you say yes?
Well, Joe Mantello, who I've worked with a couple times, he called me up and said, come work on 9 to 5 with me. And I was like, what? Why are you asking me? I'm not a singer. And he said, I don't want a singer. I want an actress for this part. And I was like, well, yeah, but... And so he talked me into it to come to a workshop, a 3-week workshop. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And then we can see if I like it, if you like me in it. And we did that workshop, and I had the best time. It was fantastic. It was the first time I couldn't wait to get to the theater or to our rehearsal space to perform it, because I had a great time.
Well, as we say, it was made famous by Jane Fonda. I'm hopefully now going to embody it through musical theater as Judy Bernley. I think that's important, to take this really sweet little character who is so fragile and frazzled, and then she gets to make this great transformation at the end of Act 2. And Dolly's written a kick-butt song called Get Out and Stay Out. So that sort of 11 o'clock number that I get to find my voice as a strong woman, because in the past I've always been cast as these really sort of grounded and very strong women with lots of angst. This one is so sweet and tender and she's stumbling around trying to find her way. But I do get the payoff, which I think the audience is going to be cheering for Judy Bernley to find her voice as a woman by the end of the play.
It was extremely daunting in the beginning, knowing that I was going to be performing her role in front of her in the rehearsal room, and but the minute I met her, I mean, she's such a kind and grounded person. She just makes you feel at ease as soon as you meet her. Yeah, so.
Talk about the role.
It's very much like the movie. She's uber feminine. I mean, feminine in every sense of the word, and doesn't apologize for it. She's the one person in the show that really has no problem with being herself. Ironically, you would think that with all the makeup and so much putting into an appearance that you'd be putting on something in your personality too, but that's not the case. And that's actually described in her big song, Backwoods Barbie, which I get to sing. I'm so excited.
Let's be honest. It's not that much of a stretch. I'm a bit of an asshole. I am. I'm an asshole. So, wow, me playing an asshole. Does it fit? Pretty well. I mean, not that I act quite like him, because I do try to buffer myself, but if someone were to say to me, so Mark, without a buffer, oh, well then, not that hard. But at the same time, I also enjoy making fun of myself. And so it's sort of like saying 5 Hail Marys every day. I can be a real jack, and then I know that I'm going to get the just dessert for it, so you can kind of wipe the slate clean and go to the next show. It's great, man, of course. I hope audiences really enjoy that part of it. I hope they enjoy the lack of apology for it. I hope they enjoy the truth and the honesty that we do this for, and that it's not a gimmick, but that it really was that way in '79, Because I don't want to just get out there and go, and, and get away. I want to play the truth of how guys were.
Liking it, and that's the most important thing. So we feel very good about how it's all shaped up, and we got a wonderful team, wonderful cast, and hopefully the songs are good enough.
The songs are perfect. Tell me what it's been like working on this show and collaborating with Patricia again.
Well, I love working with Pat. We've been together for 30 years now. She actually wrote a couple of things in between. She wrote a movie for me later called Straight Talk. She had done a little skit with me for Cher before we did 9 to 5, so we keep being put together. So we feel like it was meant for this. It was all meant kind of leading to this. But I love working with her. I love working with Bob Greenblatt and Joe Mantella and Andy Blankenbuehler and little Stephen Aremus, the musical director. We had a wonderful, wonderful cast and a great, great team of people to work with.
Well, talk about your 3 leading ladies.
Talk about my what?
Your 3 leading ladies.
Oh, the leading ladies are great because they're just, Jane, Lily, and I are so proud of them because Jane and Lily were here at the red carpet tonight, and Lily stayed. Jane had a show to do, but they were with me in L.A., and so was Dabney Coleman, so we all got a chance to see Mark. Dabney loved it. We all sat there and watched Allison Janney be Lily, and Megan Hilty do the Dorley character that I played, and Stephanie J. Block doing Jane, and Mark, of course, doing Dabney Coleman, Marc Kudisch. So it was great. I think that the characters are great and so close to us that it's not such a departure. It was just reminiscent enough to, I think, to not scare people or make them think, oh, it's not like the real one. So I thought they all had their flavors, didn't you? I thought they reminded you of all of us. Yeah.
My final question is, what's been the best part of this experience for you with leading up to tonight?
Well, Just the challenge of it, I think. I've never done this before, and I didn't know how I'd do, and I got into it, and I realized I kind of had a knack for it, and that I really enjoyed it, and it gave me more freedom than writing for, like, records, you know, because you can just write until you get said what you want to say, and then they can cut them down. But it actually, I found it freeing, and I love to tell stories anyway, so it actually seems like a natural thing for me to do, and I might do some more of it.
You know, and now if I watch it, occasionally my kids will have it on, and I walk it in, particularly the scene where Stephanie sings Get Out and Stay Out. When we hit that scene in the movie, I keep thinking, why isn't Jane singing? She should be singing now. So I think it's one, you know, sometimes taking a movie and making it into a musical is not always the best idea. And every great movie doesn't necessarily make a good musical, but I feel like this musicalized really well and kind of accommodated being a theatrical piece.
Yeah, actually, it was really difficult. It was one of the most difficult shows I've ever had to work on. But what really drew me to it was the people. I really wanted to work with Joe and Dolly, and the whole musical staff was amazing. So I was really drawn to the team. And then when I dove into the work, it was actually very, very challenging to keep the material very character-driven and plot-specific and not let it turn dancey. And Joe always stayed on me about making sure it didn't turn into big numbers, but rather very character-oriented. And I think we really worked hard on that.
You know, it's seamless because your bits take the scenes in and out. I mean, the fluidity of this show is perfect. I mean, was that hard to do?
Well, you know what? That's what I want to do. Like, what I want to do as a choreographer is to never let plot and character stop. So, like, dance steps don't make sense to me. What makes sense to me is action and people's decisions about things and characters. So, for me, it's exciting to have the choreography continue plot, even in unexpected ways. And I think that's what we do in 9 to 5 a lot, is we make dancing come to life in the office in places you wouldn't think it would be there.
I will always be your girl. Always your girl.
You know I'll always care.
Always care. You and I, just like I fantasize, like the lovers in books and on screen. You're my handsome prince, come to sweep me away. And into the sunset to love me away.
It's an interesting role because there's so much about the role that the wig's about. For some reason I put the wig on and it's like I'm Roz. It's like this horrible haircut that somebody told her years ago was okay, and it's not, but she refuses to believe otherwise. I mean, she will never change that haircut at all. She's just, that is her, and she won't budge. She's very stoic and very, officious.
Margaret, and the people know her. People know the movie, and they come in and they love it. And I was allowed to do a lot of my own stuff and do my own hair and just do this. I mean, I don't have to prep for a wig or anything. And then I get all and go to rehab and clean up. So
it's been a lot of fun, hasn't it?
It's been a lot of fun and a lot of work. A lot of work. These are big monsters, these things. A lot of people moving. And as you can see, this set is so impressive and innovative, and all that takes time. Crackerjack IATSE crew here who made us feel so safe and solved every problem. And they're just marvelous. They're real pros.
It's always a woman. Always a woman. Always a woman. They bait you, deflate you, and just leave you flat. Just leave you. It's spiteful and hateful, conniving, ungrateful. Believe me, they got it down pat. Watch your back. It's always a mystery. Always a mystery. Down through history. They'll steal our souls if they can. They'll steal your soul. It's always a woman. Always a woman. And there'll be the day.
It's such an iconic film, and he is such an iconic actor, because when I was growing up, I loved Dabney Coleman. I loved him, because you're like, my God, this guy's such a asshole, you know? And no one played a character like that the way that Dabney did. You know, it was really great. I got the chance to meet him when we were in Los Angeles. He was really gracious. I actually did a pilot reading with him like 2 years ago. And I remember my agent saying, did you tell him that you were doing 9 to 5? And I was like, no, I can't. But he was really great. And he built something that gives me the opportunity to elaborate on. But you know, you can't touch someone who originated something like that. So hopefully what I do is I pay homage to what he, you know, gave, to what Patricia gave, and I create something that's a little bit fresh.
Are we the luckiest? Yeah. Megan Hilty and Allison Janney are sisters. I love them. We have just as much fun off stage as we do on. In fact, now that we open and we won't be seeing each other all day, every day, I think I'm going to miss them a lot, you know? But we'll be sure to check in with each other certainly before we stepped on stage. The score for our voices, to say that they were tailor-made by Dolly Parton is unheard of, and I do get a great gift at the end of Act 2. It's you can't call it the 11 o'clock because we get out by 10:30, so it's the 10:15 number. Get out and stay out, and my character just slowly but surely makes its way and then gets this fantastic number.
Now you've also got a new CD coming out. You do a duet with Dolly, right?
I do. Thank you for mentioning. The CD's called This Place I Know, and the whole idea was I wanted to lend music from composers that I love and have touched my life, but I didn't just want their music. I wanted them to be on the album with me. So we have everybody from Dolly Parton, Stephen Schwartz, Andrew Lippa, Stephen Aremus. But Dolly, when I reached out to her, she said, I think I have a song you might want, and it's the cover from The Bodyguard, and Whitney Houston did it. It's called I Will Always Love You, and I think it'll be beautiful on your voice. So what do you say? I bowed down. I thanked her as much as I could. I'll be forever grateful. And she came into the studio with me for, I guess we were there for 2 or 3 hours, and we laid down this brand new arrangement that's like a lullaby. I wept the entire time. It was just, for somebody of her level, to take the time to help my album, it doesn't get more generous than that. And she is all of the things you would hope for her. Gracious, generous, gorgeous, and so smart. So smart.
I'm just a backwoods Barbie, too much makeup, too much hair. Don't be fooled by thinking that the goods are not all there. Don't let these false eyelashes lead you to believe that I'm as shallow as I look, 'cause I run true and deep. I'm just a backwoods Barbie in a push-up bra and heels. I might look artificial, but where it counts I'm real. Yes, I can see where I could be misjudged upon first glance, but even backwoods Barbies deserve a second chance.
It's so wonderful to play someone who celebrates being a woman and makes no apologies for it. I love that. I think it's so empowering, and it's an honor to play a role that Miss Dolly Parton originated and really is based on her life, and to have her stamp of approval. I mean, can you really ask for anything more?
Tell me what it's been like working with her hands-on.
Oh, she's amazing. Have you met her? I mean, come on. She is the most genuinely kind people I've ever met in my life. And she's been one of the show's really great support systems and cheerleaders, and just having her in the room has infused the show with such love. And I think the audience can feel it. You know, people are always talking about the day after they see it. Oh, I feel so much joy, you know, after seeing that show. And I really feel like that's Dolly's influence on it. I really do.
I'll take this job and love it. I'm a woman and proud of it. This old gal is one of the boys. Brilliant and amorous. This old gal is one of the boys. She's one of them. She's one of them. Yeah, she's one of them. Violet's one of the boys.
I think that, you know, before the Sex and the City girls came along, people were identifying with these characters, you know, Violet and Judy and Dorlee. So I love playing women like Violet, the women that you want on your team, you know, the strong woman with a heart that you fall in love with, that you want to root for. I love it because I think she puts out a great message into the world. I love characters like that.
To meet the three girls in L.A. that created these roles in the film, right? What was that like?
Well, Lily and I had worked on West Wing together, so I knew her, and way before I got cast in this, we were talking about how she was like, God, we should do the, 9 to 5 sequel, and you could play my daughter, and so we were kind of musing on that, and so that when I got this, I thought, oh, she's going to be happy that I'm doing her, so.
They've created so many beautiful numbers for you. Andy Blankenbuehler, I mean, you dance his stuff so beautifully. Well, he's a genius anyway.
He's truly, yeah.
Your second act showstopper, One of the Boys. Talk about what it was like working on it and doing that.
That is truly One of the Boys is every girl and every gay man's fantasy of getting to do on Broadway. Every night when I get to do that, I start that number and I go, I can't believe I'm going to get to do what I'm about to do. Every night I have so much fun doing that. It's really, that is my dream come true number. I can't say enough about Andy for giving me that number too and choreographing it so beautifully, and I get to be up there with the guy. It's a dream.
Change you from a rooster to a hen with one shot.